Hi everyone, I'm Sloan from SloanBella.com and I'm back with another video on Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell. This is video number 2, and it's actually Chester I'm going to start with because his energy has been picking up for about the last week and a half, and I'm sure it has something to do with Jeffrey Epstein's passing, but I'm going to go straight to Chester and I'm going to go to the energy around it, okay? Because he stands there in front of me, and by that I mean I get an image of him, but I see an image of many people around him. There's people on both sides of the veil. There's people working with him on this side that are alive and in human form. There's people on the other side that have been murdered like him. They are both adults and children. And then there's people, and he's telling me this, that have been tricked out of their physical bodies. I take that to mean the soul has been tricked out, but he's telling me that they have been tricked out. They've been removed. Tricked, okay? Like he was tricked. He believed in them and he thought his friends were his friends. What he didn't recognize, and this is really strong, he's drawing me to the focus. Now, for some reason, he's showing me focusing on a fire. There's like a bonfire in front of him, and he's focusing his intent, and it's a very primal intent, and he's very direct. He's getting ready to go into battle is what he's showing me. The battle is in a spiritual sense, but he's showing me the fire on the other side. So there's a part of him that's connected to the fire energy on the other side and wanting to come through in a very strong way. So let me start off by saying on the day that he passed away, when he was murdered, not passed away, murdered, not suicide, but murdered, okay? So there's no way that this man killed himself, and he's glad that people are starting to say it. It actually is something that he's been trying to put in everybody's head. I wasn't suicided. I mean, I didn't commit suicide. I was murdered. Yeah, and suicided is another word for murdered. But it feels like Chester is very focused on getting people's energy to focus on what happened with him. So what happened to him on that day? Now, he is showing me, and I have read for people connected to him and connected to his family members. So I've read for some people peripherally around him, and I got this, but I can't always remember or retain what I say. Sometimes I throw it right out of my head. It comes in and out it goes. So he's reminding me that he did not hang himself. That is how it was made to look. It's very easy to say that somebody hangs himself. You can't really shoot them in the back of the head and say it's suicide, although we have heard that. But he's saying that wouldn't work with him because obviously people would know he didn't commit suicide, right? With a bullet in his head. What happened is he's showing me that his heart was basically electrically shocked and he fell, okay? So he dropped out of the body and they were able to make it look like a hanging. Now, I don't know if he actually died before they got around to stopping the breath, or I think he did, because he's showing me the heart was like shorted out. So it's like when you put a cord into not a cord, when you put something, a wire without into the socket and it gets electrically frazzled. That's what he's saying happened to him. So he's saying that his heart was shocked and stopped. Okay, and then he was hung. He didn't hang himself. He's saying look around the house, look around where he was found, and he wasn't even found where they said he was found, all right? So the people that found him know that he wasn't found there because the body was moved several times, as in moved around. And it's shameful and shocking, okay? He's absolutely not going to be quiet. So no matter who you are and no matter what you think you can do by killing somebody in the physical, this man has never shut up from the day that he died. Not once, not ever. Okay, so his energy is very strong. It's very activated right now. Very animated and very activated. He holds hands with the people around him, and I recognize some of the faces of people that have passed on, and I recognize actually people and children around him, and they stand strong on the other side. So he's basically showing me that he's going into battle. That's what all the fire energy is about around him. So they are focusing their energy on getting us to pay attention to what happened. Now, my mind immediately is thrown over to another band, okay? So there's his band and there's people he doesn't trust in his band for sure, okay? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's people that set him up that he worked with just the way it is. And the same goes for Chris. Chris is kind of quiet, but Chris is making eye contact now. When I first picked up on the energy, Chris's head was hung like this in shame. So there was shame about what happened. And I feel like Chris may not have understood the entire thing that happened with him. Sometimes a soul is violated on this side and thrown out of their body, and there is remorse and regret because there's a fear that they did something to cause this. They carry shame. And Chris is a very sensitive person, also hadn't always been the way that he should have been in his life, he felt, and therefore in shame. Chester had gotten rid of his shame and carried strength with him, which would be the opposite, but he had worked really hard to carry strength and thought that that's what he was doing in his life. And never for a second did he think that the strength that he showed from overcoming the abuse that was put on him on purpose, not accidental, not because someone left him at a daycare, not because of anything, on purpose, okay, in order to control. This is what happened. He never thought he would break free of that. In fact, it was so overwhelming to him. So I want you guys to understand the level of strength that this soul, this human being had to actually come out of that, stand up, speak about it, and continue to speak and try to guide people to go in a different direction, which is exactly what he did. I mean, this man was extraordinary in his plight to make things happen and to make things different. Now, when I look at Chester and I look around, I'm going up the stairs, I'm seeing basically a house that wasn't necessarily overly furnished. It was kind of sparse, and I feel like he ran in and ran out. Now, I do feel like he was talking to somebody and laughing, and there was someone who was a good friend. And then suddenly I'm feeling like he felt that the energy in the room, call it intuition, call it a gut feeling, he felt something was going to happen. Now, this friend that he's talking about, and there's two of them, but there were two in the house, one outside, I feel like standing guard or keeping eye on whatever was going on outside. Another one from a very well-known band in a different country. This singer came into town briefly and made a stop by Chester's house. This singer is dialed up. I don't like this singer. He's not a singer I like, and he's this band, I don't listen to the music. Very popular band. I don't know if I want to say the name, but I'm going to say very, very popular band, out of the country band. Person was on tour at the time. Absolutely, Chester showed me the connection to this person, and it has something to do with the European beer that was found on the crime scene. Okay, so there's one beer, there's two beers. One is European, definitely connected to him, something that he drank. Maybe he got it at some specialty beer store. I don't know much about beer, but it feels like this band, this person is hugely famous and hugely part of the problem and hugely responsible in coming in and basically saying, I'm sorry, we have to do this, but this is what we have to do. So I can see Chester's face like, oh shit, I walked right into this. So there is a connection to another band member. There's also a connection, and another band is what I'm saying. Not only a band member, but another band, all right? Very, very prominent band. I'm going to say the band name has two things in it. A U and a 2. That's what I'm going to say. I can't even say it, but I'm going to say it. Okay, so I just said it. So keep in mind, he's talking about this band coming into town, this band traveling through town. I got it very clear. We as society are going to find this out. He's talking about literally the music world being turned upside down. And he's the second musician that I've channeled this week that has said the same thing. The other one being Kurt Cobain, and I haven't actually edited that video yet. That one will come up after this one. But Chester actually wants to come through. Both of them were talking to me about the fact that the music industry and the people that we adulate in that industry, there's going to be a huge overthrowing of music in the next year, which to me means somebody's going to pass away of prominence. Not the person that came to see him in the house, came through LA on the day that he died, all right? So this is hugely connected. This is connected all the way around. This is like a chess game. We are playing chess here, is what he's saying. We are playing chess. There's documents being hidden right now, and again, I take that to be Jeffrey Epstein. There's documents being hidden. There's record label executive in particular, okay? In particular, huge. He shows me the fire again, and I think he's trying to show me that this man should burn in hell. because of the fire flame that I'm seeing right in front of my face. Now behind Chester, and I've been sticking on this like a nut job for a long time, but the brown skinned children are the children that we need to watch. The darker the pigment of the skin, they are being taken. Now I take this to be kids in Haiti, kids in Africa, kids in Mexico, kids whose parents are of poverty. And Chester's talking about that, how the human beings in our society, the humans on this side, we focus on the financial, the success, the fame. He didn't necessarily want the fame or not want the fame. It was something he did that he thought would be cool and something that was a bit of a climb. But he's another one that's saying to me, I don't know that I would have done this had I not been pushed into that direction. So he's basically saying that he was guided and he's not sure now whether it was him or them. That's what he's saying. There are many people stand behind him. People you don't even know. People in this industry, business, and world that you can't even imagine, but they're all lining up on the other side. So they're getting ready for battle. Chester's saying that, and Chester is the one. He's basically saying, I am coming back, not obviously into a body. Well, that may happen at a different time, but that's not what I mean. He is coming back in a way to move forward what has already been started. People can hear him now, is what he says. They couldn't hear him at first. Something to do with Jeffrey Epstein's death, death. I'm not sure he's really dead, but we'll just go with it for now. Something to do with that situation unlocking the energy. So that was a big chess move there. And that chess move is opening up the veil. We are now seeing. So I want you guys to start doing your homework. I want you to start understanding that what you're hearing from people all over the world, what you're feeling, I want you to try to tap into Chester, and I want you to send him positive vibes because he's fighting from the other side. And he shows me tons of children behind him, the dark-skinned children, along with the other man that was in the first video, the African-American man, and Chris. Chris is right over here, and Chris steps up. Now, what I like about Chris, what I like about him is he's finally accepted, and I want you to hear this. He could not accept how he died. His head was down from basic shame and then fear of seeing what happened to him in his life, what he lived. Now, he was about my age at the time that he passed. I guess it's about 3 years ago now. And he's saying he couldn't, it wasn't like, I couldn't believe what happened. He looked eye to eye in the person that he called a friend that actually took him out off the planet. He did not commit suicide. If you're a troll on the internet, if you're somebody that's going to write me, go ahead and do it. I am not going to shut up about it because I feel them so strongly. I know they didn't kill themselves. Wake up. That's what he's saying. But he's saying it in a quiet and gentle manner. It's funny. He's a prankster now, and I like the lightness of his energy because he actually can maneuver from the other side. There are concerns for his daughter because his daughter is in the same position as him. His daughter is being manipulated, is what he's saying. His daughter is being manipulated in order to appear, or the appearance of. So there's concern for that. There's a lot of concern for that. There's concern for the other children, but in particular, the one daughter. That just look. It's just look. Nobody is safe who's involved in this right now because it is coming out. That's what they're both saying to me. And there's many kids. You have to understand that this man, Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, were doing right and speaking up. Also the black man, the African-American man, I don't know what's politically correct anymore. Anyway, Leroy is what his name is. I come to find this out after the fact. I didn't know who he was in the first video. He was with the Dave Matthews Band, and he's one of their posse, one of their group. He was the first one that was taken out, and he's the one that watches the children because he kept his eye. So many freaking children on the other side that should not be there. So many children's souls taken out. I want you to hear me when I'm saying that. Many children's souls. And the one thing that neither Chester or Chris or Leroy can take is the fact that this continues on. They want you to start seeing. Now, what I am seeing is documents and papers are being actually hidden, destroyed, and wrecked right now. I take that to be the raid on the island and what was going on. We think that the police are doing their job, or the authorities. Some of them are good. Others have been sent in to remove evidence and to stop it from being said. But you can't stop it right now. It's going worldwide, and it's like a wave is what they're showing me. The information is coming through a wave. So there's no way this is going to stop. It's not going to stop. It's going to take about 17 months, with the pivotal point being next year, between the end of August and through to December. So 2020, the end of August of 2020 through December of 2020, when we have the elections. During that time, information is being documented and information is being given. Now, I want you to understand what Chester's showing me is different levels dimensionally that are on the other side. So there's tons of levels he's showing me, and he's showing me paperwork like this, and it's twisted with not a twist tie, it's packaged like a package with rope around it. And he's showing me these files. There's files, tons of them are being set out, these files this thick, files and files and files. These are files on the other side that are being documented on this side. So every time they try to hide something, there's another file that goes on the other side that is found on this side. So they can't hide everything, and it's going all over the world. Like I said in my first video, in the Caribbean, especially in the Caribbean. I'm going to Haiti. I'm going to wherever that Epstein lived, wherever the hell that was. I'm going all over there. I'm going to the UK. I'm going to every single country. That's what the map is. That's what they're showing us, the map. And they've all shown me this map. There are points on the map where these people are doing their kidnapping business, trafficking, breeding, ritual sacrificing of children all over this map. But it's funny because they are going to get caught. There's no way this isn't happening. People are being positioned. There's people, and Chester's showing me this. He's saying, even if you run into somebody who you might think, I'll just use the example of a homeless person who you wouldn't necessarily pay attention to or give any thought to because they might be medicated, they might look smelly, they might look dirty, drunk, high, whatever. He's saying pay attention, because the other side is putting spirit energy, call them angels, call them helpers, call them whatever you want to call them, into physical form. And he's showing me the shifting, the shape shifting in a positive way, not a negative way. People are shifting in and out of body. So I want you to pay attention when you're listening to people speak, hearing them speak, understanding what they're talking about, that this has a lot to do with the energy that's going on right now. The veil is opening, like it's exploding open. There is no stopping this information. Now, it's not going to make sense in the next 3 months is what I'm being told. There's certain things going on behind the scenes, and there's a check and balance. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. I'm seeing a huge checkerboard or chessboard actually, and I'm seeing things, knights, kings, queens, all being maneuvered and shifted. So when we try to go this way, one is blocked that way. We try to go over here, it's this way. It's actually literally a war right now. That is what's going on. Chester is on the other side. He's speaking. Many of you are hearing from him. Everybody who focuses on Chris or Chester and anybody else that's passed away, Avicii, Mac Miller, any of them, okay, under the appearance of these circumstances, I want you to focus on the energy and allow them to come through to you so that you can feel what they're trying to say. Because the more that we feel it on this side, the more that it can be expressed and passed on, okay? We are energy beings, and what we think, say, and feel is passed on and picked up by other people. So Chester is basically saying that. The bandmate from the other band, the very famous band, the You and the Two band, okay, that came through LA on the day that he died. He was murdered. He did not commit suicide. Neither one of these men did, and neither one of these men would have done this for their children. So don't think you understand it. I can feel it, and I stand by it by this work. I feel it. I will not back down from it. So you control me below, and that's good. But I'm telling you, the veil is open. So get ready for the fireworks. That's what Chester's showing me. Huge fire, showing me the fire. I think they're trying to burn shit or trying to get rid of it. It's not going to work because there are people, and I want you to understand this. This is what Chester's telling me. It's something that I've thought, but I kind of want you guys to understand this. Okay, so when the energy comes through like that and we pick up things, somehow on planet Earth, people have to understand in order to do something about it, okay? So people have to be able to understand it. So they have to be able to experience it. But there's only human beings on Earth. So if there's human beings on Earth, it's not like, you know, Jesus is going to drop down and stand right here in the living room, pop in front of the camera and say something. So the energy, the divine energy that speaks truth, okay, not the upside down world that we live in that I call reverse world because it's freaking reversed upside down, okay, just beyond reversed, sickening actually. But the divine energy has to work with what it can. So this is Earth and there's human beings. So you will find coming up in the next 3 to 4 to 5 months that people that walk the planet will be filled. Even if you don't like these people, it could be a gangbanger in jail. He could and the video cut off. I was getting the energy so quickly. So let me just finish my train of thought. If I remember correctly what I was saying, the video just went poof, shut off. Anyway, what Chester is saying is even if you see a gangbanger in jail, for example, in that jail where Epstein was, and there's a gangbanger in there, like a head crime lord, a real son of a bitch asshole, at that moment, if the divine source can use him for good, they just basically take the energy and put it into the physical body, and suddenly that person will have information that they weren't going to say, don't know why they're saying, and said. That's kind of how it works. So Chester is saying to watch for that, all right? What I get from Chris, it's interesting. These two gentlemen are helping other people on the other side. They are helping. They are helping. There's just so many of them stepping in front of each other right now. There are many. This has been going on for years. There's people standing behind Chester and Chris that go back to the silent movie era. I don't know who they are, but they're dressed like actors from the silent movie era. That's why I'm saying it. There are children upon children upon children. There are many people. They are getting together on the other side. I think what has happened is in each of their individual deaths and in each of these experiences, okay, for those that haven't gone on and been reincarnated, I feel the shame and the guilt and basically the blinding of what happened to them that wasn't available to them, which is weird to me. I don't know why that would happen. I feel they went dimensionally through dimensions, not necessarily up into another dimension, like up with the source. I feel maybe they were shocked and thrown out. They could have been bound through their own actions on Earth. They may have agreed to do something or said, yeah, I'll go along with it or watch some, whatever. Anyway, I feel like they couldn't see. Now they can see. So I feel like they were temporarily shut down. Now they see. It's the time. The strength on the other side right now is not stopping. It's like a snowball going down a hill, rolling, rolling, rolling. It's not stopping. So we need to prepare for battle on this side. Each and every one of us needs to speak up against the atrocities and abuse of trafficked children and human beings. Each and every one of us. We cannot afford to not speak. You, me, them. I don't care how afraid you are. I don't care what your issue is. They cannot kill everybody. We need to speak up. I feel it's extremely important for that. But Chester is basically showing me that they stopped his heart and then they said he hung himself. And there was somebody outside watching what was going on, like a lookout, and that person's the one that freaking called 911, and that was a bandmate. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know what that means. Bandmate could be his band, could be somebody else's band, but there was also the other guy I was talking about in the house, all right? This was twofold, two of them. It was set up, it was done. He walked right into it. He's showing me that he walked into it, like walked into a spider web and got bound, is what he's saying. Sounds a little bit to me like they were also focusing energy, harnessing magic on him, because he's saying he got bound. When somebody tells me they got bound or tied, that's like a magical verbiage. So I feel like somebody did something to him, and it's not his family, it's not his wife. With Chris, I take a different stand on that. I'm not going to speak to that. I'm going to say I worry about his daughter, and I'm also going to say that perhaps Chris was in the process of changing his life at the time that he died. You know, sometimes People are married. People need to stay married. People have money between them. People have kids. Sometimes one person wants to go and the other person's invested in not having that happen. And sometimes, as you know, one person ends up dead and the other doesn't. Usually it's a woman. But in this case, I feel like Chris is telling me the handlers took him out. Like there's handlers, and he died at the hands of a friend. This was somebody he thought was his friend. Whether he knew this person a long time or not is not the point. He felt connected to this person. So shame on that person. And don't think for one freaking minute because you did this, it isn't going to come right back on you. Because they are all telling me on the other side that the energy is boomeranging back. We are getting the information. It's coming out. And it is being effectively turned back on them. Now remember that's also a magic premise or a black magic way of doing it. Whatever you do to manipulate, okay, in a spell, not like if you do a spell like, okay, I want more money or I want health in my family. You're not taking away from anybody. You're just asking the source to bring you health or money or food or love or whatever it is. When you do something manipulative, I want that person's money. I want that success. I covet. It comes back tenfold and it boomerangs. And right now, what Chester and Chris are showing me is that on the other side, these people on this side, oh, I know I'm going all over because now my energy is being pulled in 5,000 different directions, okay? What he's showing me is that the people on this side that do this kind of magic manipulation, I'm calling it black magic, call it whatever you want, this kind of focused intention and thought and ritual, when they go out onto the astral level, so when they leave their bodies on purpose and they try to maneuver in the dimensional levels between Earth and the other side, okay, out of body, it does exist. I've been there. It exists. I wasn't trying to do anything. I just have always left my body, okay? Astral traveling, you know what that is? Google it, research it, figure it out. But what happens is when they do something on the other side in manipulation towards other human beings on this side to control, they're being slapped back on the other side now. Before, they used to be able to get away with it, and that was why there was such a long period between this person having elevated success and then dying over here. It could be 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? Now it's happening, boom, okay? There's instant reverberation and flipping of the energy. So it's actually happening right now. That's why the energy is so crazy on Earth. So I want you guys to know that it's happening and I want you to prepare. But Chester is basically what I said in the beginning of this video, he's showing me. So he's saying the music world next year, and again, I heard this from Kurt Cobain, it just like this came through to me as well. What we know musically, who we aspire, who is the top dog musically, this is all being thrown out and switched within the next year. Probably in truth, 17 months from what I'm feeling psychically, but that's what I get. I'm gonna do another video, but I must go now because I can't talk anymore and I gotta go to work. Once again, my name is Sloan from sloanbella.com.